I think every artist of any discipline has been like, fuck this. Either I'm done trying or I've done it all, which is probably you're on that side, like 16 albums and touring the world and all these things, right?
Yeah.
The ceiling gets a lot lower after a while, right?
Well, I think the difference now is that as we just spent a good portion of this podcast just discussing, bro, I didn't have the tools. We didn't have the tools that we do at this moment prior to that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got to understand, bro. Coming up in the 90s, bro, like, I went to high school with Souls and Mischief guys. You know what I mean? I went to college with the Quantum guys, the Soul Sides guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, I came up in this era where you had to be on a major label or some sort of independent label with major distribution.
Yeah, it's not a cheap thing to do, to record and release and market an album.
Bro, and you talk about gatekeepers. I mean, that was it. That's all there was. There was gatekeepers, and then there was artists trying to make it through the gate. And that's it, bro. And so these even as an independent artist, man, these tools were never available to us until now. You know what I'm saying? Particularly for Asian artists. Like I would spend decades walking up into labels, marketing agencies, booking agencies, talent agencies, any kind of creative agency, management company. I never saw a single person that looked like me. You know what I mean? For decades, bro. You feel me? Except maybe the interns, But now, 10, 15, 20 years later, those interns are now in positions of power.
Right.
You feel me? So those other executives, they're gone, bro. Nobody knows where they at. They're gone, So it's us now, It's people that look like you and me. Like, I'll give you an example, bro. It was like when Black Alicious got signed to MCA, when Black Alicious got signed to MCA, Questlove goes in. This is how the story was relayed to me anyway. Questlove walks into MCA, goes to the executives and goes, you need to sign these guys. You need to sign these guys. They were making a tremendous amount of noise independently. He had that kind of leverage within the company. Deal was done. They got him signed. Amir did tracks on their album, right? I didn't have anybody like that. I couldn't be like Mr. Miyagi, bro. Go talk to Leor Cohen for me. You know what I'm saying? Go talk to Russell Simmons. I didn't have anybody like that. We didn't have anybody that had cultural leverage, you know what I'm saying, in these companies. Nobody that could greenlight a project, a movie, an album, anything. You know what I'm saying? So here I am on an island. So what options do I have? I got to figure it out. But the blessing of all that is I got turned down by so many labels. It forced me into a position of independent ownership. If I wanted to make music, I had to be an owner. You know what I'm saying? And then here we are.
That's quite a journey, yeah. And I mean, that's what I was getting to is like there's all these different crossroads, right? Where it's like you could have packed it up and said, well, they don't want me because I'm Asian. Guess I'll try to do something else.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, I've had those moments too where I've gotten to the point where I'm like, oh, fuck this shit. And then something just happens.
For sure, yeah.
And I think what you're saying is the truth is like, don't give up.
Right.
Don't quit on yourself if this is really what you love. Because that's what it should be about. It shouldn't be like a get-rich-quick scheme or an attention thing. It should be because I do this because I love it.
Right.
But be willing and accept that, all right, if I need to walk away for whatever reason, I'm cool with that. If it doesn't happen, like having that lack of expectations, if it doesn't happen, because if you go into this game like, I want to have the #1 album in the country, I want to be on MTV, I want my own movie, like that's kind of a tall order. But if you're like, I want to be the best at this as I can, that's cool. But at the same time, you have to be willing, if it doesn't go the way you might want, cool. Because if you're in it for the love, you win regardless.
Well, yes. Okay, I think Can I add to that?
Sure.
Can I respectfully disagree slightly with that?
Yeah.
So this is the way I feel about that, man. I look back, and guess what label never dropped me? Mine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Guess what label never said, no, we're not going to commit marketing money to you? Guess what label never did that? Mine. You know what I mean? Guess what label never said, I don't believe in you? Mine. You know what I mean? So I think the point is, guess what person never stopped believing in me? Me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think when you adopt that attitude, bro, you can do it all.
That's true.
You can do it all. I'm not sitting here with you if I didn't feel like I was one of the best.
That is true.
I'm not sitting here with you right now. Let me just repeat that. I'm not sitting here with you right now unless I didn't think I was one of the best. You feel me? And if you have that attitude, it'll carry you through all kinds of adversity. You know what I'm saying? And you should have high expectations for yourself.
Okay.
You absolutely should. But you have to understand also, once, you can speak these things into existence, you can enact them into existence, but you also have to understand, at the end of the day, all I can do is make the music, make the videos, put them out there, and then I have no control over how people perceive it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So...
Okay, well, with that conclusion, I don't think we were really in disagreement. That's basically where I was going. But
right.
No, that's the confidence and all that, and the belief is necessary for whatever you want to do.
I mean, but it doesn't mean that I didn't have those dark moments
where
I'm like, oh, motherfucker, fuck this bullshit. Do I really need this? It doesn't mean that those dark moments don't exist.
I know.
It's just, do I love it?
I know, yeah.
I
mean, it's crazy that as you go through this journey, you'll find the most successful people have those. I go through those all the time.
For sure.
I just don't spaz out and broadcast that, right? Because I got to keep my shit tight. I got to suck it up and keep going and say, hey, this is what I signed up for. So when it gets rough, I can't turn around and pack it in. I gotta just say, hey man, this is what I signed up for, the good shit and the bad shit.
Comes with it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with it, and like I saw an interview one time, man, with Francis Ford Coppola, you know what I mean, who directed The Godfathers, and bro was like, I have opportunities and I've missed opportunities. Success is when you have more in the opportunities column.
Yeah,
wow. You
like
I mean, ain't no winning team in history that had a perfect record. It just doesn't exist, bro. You're gonna take some L's.
Yeah.
But are they really L's?
Yeah.
If you got there.
Right, exactly.
Are they really L's if you got there? Your perspective has to change, man.
I agree completely.
Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay. Recognize where you got the game. We got our own style, got our own slang. Northern California is a West Coast thing. This is the history of the Bay.